is tough when one of your biggest projects of Warner Bros. Is simply not working due to various reasons. And of course, I am talking about DC's Justice League shenanigans and the live action side of things, as I am here today to tell you that things are still looking bleak. But even after all this time, there is still hope for the franchise, with or without Zack Snyder involved in it. Which brings me to today's topic of whether we are going to get a Justice League sequel, a reboot, or something entirely different. The last couple of years have been a struggle for the DCEU, something that can be seen from the delays that occur more often than not. And even though DC has managed to keep the fans entertained with some movies here and there, it is not enough. Or that is what I think. The latest Black Adam movie will surely bring joy to the fans. However, it is not something DC can rely on when a longer period of time is taken into consideration. When I say struggles, I am mainly pointing out towards the Justice League and how the DCEU treated them so far, with the movie franchise not being able to even release a sequel, despite all the rumors and talk regarding the topic. So now, I am here before you, despite all the bits and pieces not in place, to talk about a Justice League sequel. One that has not been confirmed yet, but a sequel that could go in two ways, not likely to happen, or happen at any time. And with that in mind, let's see where things are heading and everything regarding the Justice League 2 movie. In August 2021, longtime DC producer Charles Roven shared his hopes that he will be involved in a potential sequel, even if that happens in a few years. Zack Snyder, on the other hand, has always been hopeful that things will change for the better regarding the sequel. He also mentioned that Warner Bros. Has been aggressively anti-Snyder. Zack Snyder's version, or should I say, the remake of the original movie, ended up on a huge cliffhanger, one that can easily set up a sequel of the franchise, as well as some other movies in the near future. So when we put everything in perspective, you can see that things are not looking great. However, the positive vibe and support for the Snyderverse from the fans could prove to be a key piece a potential follow-up would need in the future. So, will Snyder's version of the Justice League movie ever get a sequel? It remains to be seen, both because of the lack of information we've received, but also because of how unclear Snyder has been in the last year or two, who said that there is no plan for a follow-up, a statement that he gave back in January of 2021. In an interview leading up to the movie, Snyder referred to the movie as the last one that he will make for the DCEU, adding that even though it ends up in a cliffhanger, he does not plan any movies after it whatsoever. Outside of everything and all the sequel talk, is there any other choice for the franchise or a way to continue the story of the first movie? Maybe it is time for a reboot. What do you think? According to my educated guess, considering the state of the possible follow-up movie, it seems like the likeliest option for a Justice League 2 movie or a Justice League movie would need a reboot of sorts, with the franchise following James Gunn's approach to the Suicide Squad movie. After all, Ben Affleck is no longer Batman, and Cavill appears to only be there to cameo in the role of Superman, and not a full-blown role as it stands right now. These two alone are major players in the story, and they are supposedly out. So nothing would be the same without the two. Thus, making a direct sequel could prove unlikely. Ultimately, the Justice League 2 movie could go on without them. But considering they are two of the core members of the team, DC would need to hit that like button just like you should if you haven't done so already. But no, in reality, DC would need to recast the roles, something that would not stand with the fans at all, while also retaining the likes of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman and Jason Momoa as Aquaman, who got his movie delayed yet again. As you can see from what you've heard so far, the future of Justice League is hanging in the air, something that does not do justice to one of the most famous superhero teams out there. And now I will take a look at the ups and downs of the franchise moving forward, and what could possibly be the better option for the entire thing. And without further ado, let's dive right in.
Even Superman. Maybe not his mind. Maybe his soul. I'll have a contingency plan for that.
First and foremost, I will say, whenever Warner Bros. Decides to make Justice League 2, the movie will struggle to be a true sequel, but this problem could be omitted if the sequel comes out as more of a standalone movie than a continuation of what came before it. One of the main reasons for the struggles would be the casting side of things, mainly because, as I mentioned before, Ben Affleck's Batman will make his final appearance in the upcoming The Flash movie, with theories suggesting that the multiverse storyline will kill his Bruce Wayne. Then there is the growing sense of Henry Cavill's Superman and him not playing the role anymore. despite his desire to do so. And it is also all but guaranteed that Ray Fisher's Cyborg won't be part of the sequel, who refused to work on a project at DC after his problems with the reshoots over the last couple of years. This leaves Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman together with Jason Momoa's Aquaman, because as you know, Ezra Miller's Flash will be no more after the Flash movie because of his violations in the last couple of months. Some rumors suggest that moving away from the Justice League would be the best case scenario for the core members, and rather for DC to focus on the Batverse that Matt Reeves introduced to us with the Batman movie. But seeing how little we know about the whole thing, I will leave that open for now. On the other hand, some experts suggest that a Justice League sequel is not necessary, given how much content the DCEU currently has to offer. And I think that this is the best option for Warner Bros. when we take into consideration their other projects, like John Cena's Peacemaker, the aforementioned Black Adam movie, as well as Shazam, Fury of the Gods, among other projects. There are a lot of possibilities for the future of the DCEU, with all of them having no ties to Snyder's Justice League whatsoever. Going back to the Batman shared universe possibilities, these titles offer DC the opportunity to branch out in a new direction, rather than in the past, which seems to be all the controversy surrounding the Justice League. The theatrical cut of the Justice League movie did not live up to the expectations, with the movie being financially unsuccessful and generally seen as underwhelming by critics and viewers alike. However, when Zack Snyder smashed that like button and rang the notification bell, on a more serious side of things, when he came back after him stepping down from the project due to personal reasons, he made things work, with DCEU creatives like Patty Jenkins and Jason Momoa seeing the movie as a canonical iteration of the original movie, which brought renewed interest in the franchise. However, knowing that this was also his last movie in the DCEU, Snyder's long-term plan with Warner Bros., particularly the potential second and third Justice League movies, all ideas fell flat, and fans were left wondering if they were ever going to get a sequel of sorts. And even though things are looking bleak, I think that considering the magnitude of the franchise and the heroes taking part in the action, it is simply inevitable for us to get another Justice League movie, with the only question left to be answered would be if the movie will be a sequel or a complete reboot. There were also some talks about Zack Snyder returning, but they remained only as talks, and even if he does not return, a Justice League sequel will be made sooner or later, with Snyder's plans for the future of the franchise possibly used in the process, and them having strong influence as to where the possible sequel could go next. Post-apocalyptic, alternate nightmare future that was teased in his previous movies, as well as a conflict between the heroes of Earth and the forces of Darkseid. See you in the next video.